What's up, man?
I'm a technological.
Hold on one second. Enzo. Quiet. The dog thinks somebody's here.
We finally get connected, and the dog. Oh, I fish for a living. That's what I do. I fish for a living. I can barely use the phone. I shouldn't say that. I'm not a dummy, but I'm not a genius. And that just frustrated me. Wow, did that just frustrated me. Let me tell you. But we're gonna get all that out. We're gonna get all that out. We're gonna get all that out. And my buddy Brian's gonna join us as well. And I want to do a little sports show preview for everybody. But I want to do it because Brian's got a booth there. B Hammer Tackle. I don't know if you know Brian Hammond, Rick, but if you don't, you will shortly. He makes the castable worm harnesses that everybody uses on an Ida when they're casting in the weeds. And the three of us have all been in this industry a long time, and I thought I'd introduce you to everybody, and we'll get into your channel and your charter, and same with Brian, and we're all going to be there this weekend, and it really is. I want to highlight some of the people that a lot of knowledge, a lot of talent in that building this weekend, and I hope everybody comes out. A lot of experience. So I'm just waiting to see Brian come in. I sent him the email, but we'll get going. So introductions. Captain Rick Hajecki, service manager, do everything, Krenzer Marine, charter captain, YouTuber. What else? Tell everybody, introduce yourself, Rick.
I do a little bit of everything. So I work at Krenzer Marine Monday through Friday, and then I have the charter business on the weekends. And I primarily focus on the western basin of Lake Ontario and fishing salmon tournaments. So that's where most of my fishing takes place. Although in the fall, when the trolling boat goes away, I do take out the aluminum boat and get over to Oneida and take advantage of that fall bite, which I really enjoy. Krenzer Marine, I wear a lot of hats there. I was service manager. I've since moved on from there, and concentrating on repowering boats. So we do a lot of repowers for municipalities and just retail buyers. We're a big Mercury dealer. We also deal in Yamaha. Marine electronics is another thing we specialize in. I think we have probably one of the bigger operations when it comes to installing marine electronics in the lake. There's a lot of boats out there with our thumbprint on them. We sell all the major manufacturers when it comes to marine electronics. We install everything from trolling motors to downriggers and everything in between, autopilots and radars and whatever you can think of. So
you guys did all the installation on my boat.
Yes, we did.
Yep. You rigged the whole thing.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I concentrate on, and now we're really trying to grow the Starcraft brand in New York. It's a brand with a lot of history, and so me and Tim, the owner at Krenzer Marine, we carry Starcraft, Sylvan, Chaparral, and Robalo with the Marina, and we're really trying to grow that Starcraft brand. So that's kind of what I do at the Marina. And then on the weekends, like I said, I run a charter boat on the west end of Lake Ontario.
How long have you been doing that? When'd you get into that?
My father had me out on the lake when I was 5-6 years old, along with my brother. So I've been fishing Lake Ontario, trolling for salmon and trout for my whole life. And I believe I got my license back in 2007 and started chartering then. And it's never been a full-time gig to me. I've always had a day job, so it's always just been something to supplement the income and allow me to get out when how it is when buddies want to go out. They always want to go out until you ask them, and then they're I can't make it. I got this going on. So it's nice when you got charter clients. They're going to show up. They're excited, and then they become friends over time. So that's probably one of the benefits of that business. So.
It's amazing the people you meet in this industry. It's not like you're in a bad industry. You're in a fishing industry, and it's people having fun. So you typically meet great people, and we're fortunate in having guided and chartered for years. I mean, the thousands and thousands of people we've met along the way. Imagine, you know. Um, it's wonderful. And so you grew up in Rochester?
Yeah.
So that's where but you did your dad have his own boat and everything?
Oh yeah.
Was he into it?
Yeah. We grew up with a 21-foot Penn Yan, and
Yeah.
we spent many a days between, I would say, Irondequoit Bay and Sandy Creek, the Sandy Creek on the west end, fishing Lake Ontario, and then we would branch out and do the Niagara Bar thing in the springtime. But that 21-foot Penn Yan saw a lot of fishing over the years, and we would
Yeah.
sleep on it. It had a nice little cuddy cabin, so we got the chance to sleep on it when we were fishing the fall or spring derbies. So that was cool as a kid sleeping on a boat, and but yeah, we've been doing it a long time.
Was was he into it when you told him you were gonna take it and make it professional? Um,
Yeah, he kind of pushed me. He said, he's the one that's like, why don't you go get your license? And so that's
oh, it was
when,
his idea.
yeah, it was his idea. So a little backstory on him is, he pushed me to get that. And then him and I chartered for about a year or two together, and then he had an accident at the house where he fell off the roof, landed on his head in the driveway, and had a severe brain injury.
Oh
So
my God.
yeah, so then prior to that, my brother went and got his license as well. And so after my father had his injury, he kind of lost his independence. So me and my brother started running charters together, and to this day, me and my brother are on the boat every Saturday and Sunday running charters. So that's how it
Oh,
kind of
great.
progressed. Yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah.
That's awesome. Um, and so that was your start in the industry, when you got into chartering?
hmm Yeah. Yeah, I was around a lot. We befriended a lot of the charter guys in Rochester just because we were always out on the weekends and whatnot. So, I had a network of guys there, and then we started fishing some of the pro am tournaments around the lake as an amateur team. And then when I got my license as a pro team, the very first pro tournament we fished was out of our home port now, Oak Orchard. We won that one, so that was pretty cool to win your first pro tournament. Um, I think
Wow.
we only dabbled in the amateur side for a year or two, but around that time is when the internet kind of hit. Lake Ontario United was a big resource, and now with social media,
Yeah,
we've always been a part of all that stuff. So um, yeah, we've been doing it a long time.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I miss the lake. I don't fish the big lake nearly. I spent my young life out there, 7 months of the year it seemed like. Um, but it's like nothing else. I mean, do you yourself during the week during charter season waiting for the weekend? Even more, if you were a private boater. I mean, um, you get back up to the boat. Where do you keep your boat?
I'm up at
You
Oak
said in
Orchard.
Oak Orchard.
Yep. Yeah. So I typically will have dinner with my son and my wife on Friday night, and then I'll leave for the boat, and I'll run a double on Saturday and one on Sunday, and that's my weekend. Just about every weekend if I'm not fishing a tournament. And you know, the one thing that kind of sucks is I drive down Lake Road from Webster all the way to Sodus to go to work. So I drive by Pulteneyville and I see the few captains that are heading out every morning, and then I get to Sodus and I see those guys that are already gone by the time I get to work. And so yeah,
Yeah,
I get a little frustrated when I see that. But
yeah.
the drive when I get to go Friday night and then I'm there all weekend, like I'm fresh, I'm energized, ready to go. I'm not tired because I've been doing it 7 days in a row.
Yeah. Well, and that reflects in how you are with your customers and how aggressive you fish. How many tournaments are you fishing? What's your schedule this year?
So we start off with St. Catharines at the end of April. That really kind of kicks off the tournament season, and that kind of kicks off salmon season for us. It's that last weekend in April. So we'll fish that. We'll fish two Toronto tournaments throughout the summer, and then we have two Wilson tournaments and then an Oak Orchard tournament. And those are the big tournaments. And then in between, there's we started a series at Oak Orchard called King of the Oak. So there's one tournament every month, and the points accumulate over those over those events, and then you crown the king of the oak at the end of the season. So you've got 4 of those little tournaments going on, and so there's always something. And then our neighboring port, Bald Eagle, they had a series as well. So there's always a tournament to fish
Oh, cool.
that end of the lake, which is kind of cool. But we enjoy the tournaments. Nick, I love the American tournaments, but the Canadian tournaments to me are pretty cool because you're going to another country. And the guys
Yeah.
over there, I mean, you see the same guys over here all the time. You get over there and you see those guys that you basically only see posting stuff on social media. So now you get to put a face with a name and just extend your network, which is awesome.
What now are you fishing these tournaments with clients or with a tournament team?
We've done it both. We've won the Wilson Harbor Invitational was one of the bigger tournaments in the lake for years. We won that with clients. We also came in second with clients there. But for the most part, we do it with a tournament team. That's kind of like our weekend to hang out with our buddies and go fishing. So we have a core group of guys, depending on which tournament it is. There's a kind of an American team and a Canadian team that we have, and they've been pretty consistent over the years. And I think that's kind of helped with our success in the tournaments. Is we've been doing it together for so long. Everybody just kind of flows well, and the thing is, we have fun. We don't get pissed if we lose fish or something dumb happens. We've been there. We've all had those moments. We know now that it's it
Fishing's
is what it
fishing.
is.
Yep.
Yeah.
Fishing's fishing, man. And for those out there that don't know, like what Rick's talking about now I know you just bought a big boat. You haven't even dunked it in the water yet to fish off it, right? You're spending the winter redoing it. What did you buy?
So we had a
Or
10 meter.
what did you leave to go to this one?
Yeah. So we had a 33-foot Trojan 10-meter Express, which was an amazing boat, and I hope I don't regret getting rid of it and going to a little bit bigger boat. But now we have a 36-foot Tierra. They're very similar in size. This one's
Those
just maybe a
Tierras are
touch.
beautiful hulls.
Yeah, this one's maybe a touch bigger. The engines are a little bigger in this one, and it kind of moves through the water a little better. But they're both probably the 2 top platforms for guys who want to go to Lake Ontario or Lake Michigan and troll for salmon and trout.
Yeah. And like I was saying, these are big boats. This is a full-blown operation. You're again, for people that have never been on Lake Ontario or been on the back of a charter boat, how big is your team? 4, 6,
We like 5. 5 is a
5?
good number because, again, we're out there having fun. So I don't want to park somebody at every single downrigger waiting for that fish to bite. If somebody wants to go sit down and eat something or relax and, shoot the
Right.
boat, captain, whoever's driving the boat, then, do it. It's a relaxing time for everybody on board. And we'll get to work when the fish hits, but 5 seems to be a good number for us. And so that's typically what we go at it with.
Well, and that way you got 3 people to fight triples. You got a netter and you got a driver.
Yeah.
And like I say, that's a full-blown operation, a salmon tournament team. With the year COVID hit, Tony Buffa was putting together, I love it. He called it an all-star team. And it was a whole crew of us that were all professionals. And it was the first time he'd ever done it. And he was really excited about it. COVID hit. He didn't charter that summer and ended up selling his big boat up there. And we never got to do it. But he already had shirts and hats made up and everything. We were going to be official, but that's a lot of fun up there. I will be doing much more lake content, big lake content this year. Now that I have a new boat, so
Yeah,
I look forward to that and downrigging again.
yeah. I grew up trolling, and then when I turned 16, I got into the bass fishing scene and got my first bass boat at 18. And I did the New York State Federation deal where I was traveling around the state and fishing those state tournaments. And so I've done tournaments on the bass side. I've done tournaments on the salmon and trout side. And, I found myself out there by myself in my bass boat, talking to myself during practice or during a tournament because there's nobody else there.
Yeah.
And then when you fish a salmon and trout tournament on the big lake, with a team of, anywhere from 3 to 6 people, you have that conversation. You have you get a chance to
The
hang out with
camaraderie.
your buddies. Yeah, it's just awesome. So,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. That's
yeah,
always why I gravitated more to duck and goose hunting than deer hunting, because the other two were social and you did it in groups. You
yeah,
know, deer hunting, I was in the tree all by myself, freezing my ass off most of the time, not seeing anything. So I'm like, and I love the deer hunt. I spend a lot of time in the woods. I used to anyway, but I always would have rather been with my buddies in the duck blind or laying
hmm
in the field together, shooting the breeze until, oh, there they are.
yeah,
So, um, and it's funny, we've done it both. I spent a lot of years of my life trolling. That's what we did. That's
hmm
what we did,
yeah,
And now I'm the opposite direction, that I've been casting exclusively for 4 or 5 years. And I found myself this fall now with the new boat getting that trolling bug again, because a well executed trolling bite is a thing of beauty. I don't care
mhm,
what you're targeting. It is precision. It is it occupies that part of my mind that likes order,
mhm,
and structure. Um, and your spread. It's always about the spread and how are
yeah.
you covering the column and where are your targets, and it's fascinating. And now, especially with this new forward facing technology, um, I'm really looking forward to the coming months very soon, getting on the big lake and trolling like we did. Everybody saw that video and it had a lot of views. Um, we went out 2 days before Christmas and trolled Lake Ontario and smacked them.
hmm
I thought that was outstanding. I love that. It was something new for me. You don't often get to say it. 52 years old, I did something new. I did something new. That was pretty cool. Um,
This is
so
the best time to get out there. This time from Christmas till March, man. It's some of the best brown trout fishing you'll ever see on Lake Ontario. And it's funny, I almost missed your text message because I was tending to my hot tub and filling it up with water because it was down. But I told my wife I was looking at the weather while I was waiting for that, and I was like, man, Saturday's a perfect day to get out. There's no wind. I'm stuck at a sports show Saturday, but it's
yep,
all good. There'll be plenty of days coming up in the future here that we can get out.
yep. I thought the same thing as I was taking every single stitch of fishing equipment out of my boat yesterday to bring it over to the sports show today. I thought, this is going to be the perfect weekend.
Yeah.
Perfect weekend. I wanted to go down to Cuba and jig some Lakers.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
ready. I'm ready for that already. So, all right, Rick, thank you so much, everybody. Rick and I will be at the Krenzer's booth all weekend at the New York State Sports Show out at what do they call that? The Expo Center.
Yep.
Um, StarCraft has some amazing deals on boats right now with a lot of things, and a lot of great deals going on right at the moment. I just saw the what is it, rebate program or something. We'll talk more about that. Um, But if you're looking for a new boat, if you've seen my boat for the last 6 months, and my boat will be at the show, you can come check it out. And just the way I have it, I fish it, and we've got a lot of great stuff out there. So I encourage everybody to come see us when they come out.
Yeah. All right, man.
Thanks, buddy. I'll see
Thanks,
you,
man.
and keep your tip up.
All right, buddy. See ya.
See ya. All right, everybody. Let me get my spectacles on now. Brian, I think you're ready. I think you're ready here. Add guest. Okay. All right. There we go.
Dude,
Oh, everybody, Brian Hammond, B Hammer Tackle. Let's give him a big round of applause for being the most patient man that I know. I love him to death. Uh,
Good, man.
dude, this is why we fish for a living.
100%.
This is why I fish mostly alone. Just so nobody sees the real deal on a
The
daily
technology
basis.
is overwhelming sometimes. I struggle to find paths of least resistance, and this is not my favorite. Let me tell you.
Oh man, everybody! It's I don't even know what time it is. It's like midnight. I don't know.
It's
Like
oh dark.
It's like Christmas Eve. Holy shit! Pardon my French.
Yeah. Well, good thing you said Christmas Eve, man, because I'm excited about tomorrow and Saturday and Friday and Saturday, Sunday. I mean, just
Yeah,
looking forward to this. It creeps up on you. You have a plan. You put your stuff in a place where you want to be excited about stuff, and this is just one of those things that I'm really looking forward to. It's very exciting.
I was talking to. I was there today. I just got off the. I just got off the phone with or off the video with Rick
Yeah,
from.
that's good.
Um, and then, and I was thinking earlier today. I said, so real quick, everybody. So Brian was signed up to do two seminars. We have one Friday and one Saturday, and he asked me if I'd be interested in doing it with him. And of course, I am. And so we're going to be doing that. And I don't want to give any of that away because I want you guys to come out and see us in mass. And I was there today setting up the boat, and I talked to Norm Whiteman, the owner, the promoter.
Yeah.
Norm and I go back to the Gander Mountain days when we worked there together.
Oh boy.
And he said last year was over 30,000 people through the door in 3 days. That's a lot of people, and I think we can easily top that this year.
Yeah.
I know you'll be set up with B Hammer Tackle.
Yep.
You'll have all of your wares out
Yep.
for sale. And we'll be doing the two seminars. I forget which time. It was Friday.
I think 3 and 4 or 4 and 3, 4 o'clock maybe Friday and 3 o'clock Saturday.
3 o'clock Saturday. Yep, I think that sounds about right.
Yeah, 4 and
The
3.
show opens at noon on Friday.
Yeah.
And I know for a fact that the place was packed. Norm was telling me, and his head guy there was walking around with his clipboard and his map, and
Yeah.
I started getting flashbacks to Walleye Fest last year when I was that guy and
Right.
pulling my hair out going, no, you go here and you go here. And he goes, we sold every inch of floor space this year. So it's
Good.
going to be full. There's going to be a lot of great stuff.
Yeah.
And this is our hype up. This is Brian and I's hype up video for everybody out there to come out and see us talk fishing. We're going to be doing the seminar on the hammer rig.
Yeah. So I got an outline put together. For me, I just try to explain some fine details, pick it apart, help people understand how it came about. What's nice about doing it with you, you fill in the gaps, you think outside the box like myself. I like every time I talk to you, I tell you how much I overthink stuff and then, put things together and then try to
Yeah,
help
I'm in
people.
that club.
It's some of our downfall, which helps us, be creative and just do different stuff that, forces us to try different things, I think sometimes. And, what it's rewarding to me is finding out that I wasn't trying enough things with my own tackle when you get feedback from somebody that bought something and caught it a different way, because you don't think of it that way. It had a place and time, and then you put it to your toolbox or however you want to present it, and then you always had those other things that you'd learned growing up and had those opportunities to learn a variety of things. And I think just like growing up on Oneida Lake and having the versatility of structure and depth and the ability to overcome obstacles, even though it's full of fish. We've all had our bad days. um, you
Oh,
become
yeah.
very versatile, and you tend to learn how to change things and when to change things and don't get stuck into old habits. I think a lot of times, you thought that just because you caught fish in one spot, you got to go back there and they're still there. And you know what? They always could be, but having some of those things where you try different stuff and hopefully, us doing a seminar, giving some opportunity to people think differently about when you do something, gives them a whole different picture of what the lake looks like and where to look for things that some people would drive by, and I hope that, we can spread that message to everybody and explore their new opportunities and make a value to the whole process. That's what I look for getting out of that. All of us will never get rich in the tackle business. The only thing that I can tell you where they'll do, will buy more stuff and we'll be happy with what we're doing. And the smiling faces and the people that tell me that they have a good time, is rewarding to me and all.
Isn't it wonderful?
It's awesome.
Truly. I mean, it's why I do what I'm doing. I,
Yeah.
I, it's gratifying. It's a lot of things, but when someone says, "Hey, Matt, Brian, I went out and was successful, and I did just what you said, and
Yeah.
it worked," and then once it works for them, then it becomes theirs,
Right.
and then it's, "Hey, I got this new technique," and then they then go and tell somebody else about it because it's real and it's tangible, and you've taken a piece of joy that was yours and you've
Right.
given it to everybody else. And now, like, we get to give it to, however many people watch this video, however many people we're around on a daily basis, and I love that about what we do because
Right.
it's coming from a place of joy. People don't watch guys fishing because, um, they watch because they want to learn, they want to
Right.
understand, and and if you're that vested in wanting to learn, you're going to learn,
Right.
and and there should never be a stopping point because anytime anyone ever says, you just said it, you even find out new ways to use something that you designed, that you invented. And because nothing is ever any one thing all the time, like how you use it, like you designed it to be a casting lure.
Right.
How many guys do you know are trolling them
Oh,
and smacking fish and theoretically they're doing it wrong, right? They're
right.
not using it the way it's supposed to be used, but
Yeah.
it works
And it's
because it's not just one thing.
yeah, it's crazy
And
because
that's wonderful.
it's awesome because like the charter captains like Nick and Tony and Jason and the group of the Tori, there's just tons of guys that like getting people on fish. That's kind of a family and network of people. You look back when you found a spot to fish and then you left it and you're like, when you go back there the next day, you're like, oh, that guy's in my spot. Like I'm beyond that anymore, where like the whole lake is everybody's spot, right? Nobody can really take ownership to anything, but it's a timing thing. Like anything is like how well you adapt. That's what I get out of a lot of fishing trips and adjusting the conditions. I tell you, I'm not an expert all the time, but you'll have a lot of opportunity when you learn different things to adjust to those conditions and make yourself successful. I mean, like I told you, I only fished a couple times over the summer, but I'm not. I'll be the first one to tell you, if I don't catch a fish, I don't catch a fish. But you know what? It's a learning curve and it's a learning experience. And luckily for me, I've been doing it for such a long time that I've had the opportunity to travel across the country and fish in a lot of different spaces and places. But with that being said, you take a little bit of those places and pieces and you put them all together, and the big part of getting older is sharing those stories and those opportunities that you've created to explain to people that try to learn from the people that have the knowledge. And the big thing
Sure.
that I'm getting accustomed to understanding is the whole new technology, like the live scope and all that. It's changing how people fish, but deep down, not everybody's going to get to that point. But if they can still take something from a seasoned angler that's got a lot of experience and open up their eyes to different things, and not necessarily just my tackle, or what I like about yourself is you're throwing the jigs or you're throwing a blade bait, or the fine tuning those tools becomes a little easier for people to present them and then be happy to use them next time and be successful. We'll talk about more of that in detail over the weekend, and explaining the finer points of a lot of that stuff. But when people get
Yeah.
frustrated with something, it goes in the bottom of their tool box, their tackle box, and most of the time people will not revisit it without having somebody that's sitting them side by side and forcing them to try to do something different. So you know
Well, and I'm going to take what you just said one step further. And I think the reason the frustration comes to begin with is whether we think we know, whether we really know, whether we don't know, what you don't know will kill you in this instance, and now you can muddle your way into a fish or two sometimes with something. Um, and you go back and try and repeat it and it doesn't really work, or once in a while. And that learning curve of understanding, first of all, physically understanding what whatever lure or technique you're using really does, where it's really meant to shine, and then the timing of it, and there's a lot to it. And if we when I guided on the Salmon River, I I was able to take 2 guys per day. When I was on the big boat, I could take 6 per trip. You know, I put out a video and we talk about how you do something and why you do it, and when you do it. Then all of a sudden you give people that fill in the blank part of a blade bait. Why do you fish it with heavier line than you would think, and what's it supposed to feel like, or where in the summertime would I go throw the hammer rig?
Right.
What kind of weeds am I looking for, and why? And it's easy to say, oh, I was throwing hammer rigs in the weeds.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Bri, I mean, on our end, there are miles of weeds, and they don't all hold lunker walleye behind every weed stalk,
100%.
and now we're going to get into that tomorrow in depth or over the weekend.
Yep.
But the point really is, you and I are of the same cloth. We always have been.
Right.
And that's, we're more than willing, and we actually want to give, because I'm not trying to say that the way I do it is the only way, because I would stop listening right away,
Right.
But what I'm telling you is what I have found works for me through sheer repetition and trial and error.
Yeah.
I'm fortunate. I fish a lot of days a year. I have time to work out the kinks in a lot of things,
Right.
Um, and so when I say something, it's only the way that it's worked for me. And even with your rig, and we'll get into it in detail, but like I do things differently than the day that you and I fished together, and I watched you very
Right.
closely. I watched your every cast and how you were doing it, because why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
And I don't. And so I would always defer to the person with more knowledge on a subject. Why wouldn't you? That's just, and now we're able to give that back. And
Yep.
again, it's just what we know. There's no proclamation of anything, and this is not ego based. And I'm sure everybody else out there is a better fisherman than me. I'm just telling you what works for me. And
Right.
then I get that wonderful feedback.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt, thank you. I watch your stuff. I listen to what you say. I put it to practice when I normally didn't, or I've never caught anything on this lure before that was sitting in the bottom of my tackle box. And I threw it down because I didn't really understand it and it didn't work. And I've caught, a fish on something else before. So I'll just go back to that.
Right. Yeah.
I don't want people to feel that way. Fishing is fun. It's amazing. It's so many things. We get to help people enjoy it more.
Yeah.
You know, that's our job. And you make tackle and you talk about your tackle, and that's how you do it. And we get to, what a great job. We get to help people have fun and have more fun.
Yeah. It's awesome. Really rewarding, man. Like I said, I love what I do. It's you put a lot of effort into something that you like to make, and the way you make it is, for me, is that I could pick up any lure that I make and make it work, and I make it well enough so that I can use it for myself for any practice, and not just to make money. I mean, this business is very overwhelming, and small business is hard. It's time consuming, but I wouldn't make something in a mass just because I want to try to be wealthy. You know what? I'm happy with the life I live. I'm rewarded to grow up on the lake and have a great lot of experience with a lot of good friends. And like you said before, just think of how many people that you've come across and met. Like, if I started fishing or tournament fishing, I wouldn't have friends all across the country that would pick up their phone or open their door to me in a moment's notice to welcome me, like we've been
Yeah.
visiting together for days on end, or not
Yeah.
seen each other for a year at a time. Those relationships are built with trust in good times, bad times. And it's rewarding to have that kind of respect, and then just building future customers and friends. And I just like talking about it. Like my wife always says, she goes, once you get started, if you got an hour, you might go over, but nonetheless, you want to make sure that you
Right.
don't miss something, because I want to make every detail special, and when people are picking up on details, sometimes when people tell certain things, they don't want to always tell all the details because it's important to them to go back and do what they did to however they caught fish. But, when you're trying to explain something, sometimes if something's missed, it doesn't fill in all the gaps, and then it doesn't become, you're not as successful, I guess the best way to put it. So, you know,
Well, that's why. Okay, so that's the perfect. You just gave the absolute perfect promotion for the seminars. You come out to the seminar and you're going to get you and I, and there's a lot of years of experience there, and at the very least, you're going to go and sit and talk and listen and talk about fishing for an hour or so with a whole bunch of people that are like-minded and are all in that same groove that they want to share ideas. It's not a teacher and student situation because I know you're the same way, but I'm constantly absorbing. I
yeah,
can't ever stop absorbing, and I see something. I'm a tackle head anyway.
yeah,
I'm a my tiny bit of an addiction, and I know you. I've been in
bad,
your garage.
yeah, bad,
Um, but I'll see something that catches my fancy, or these new techniques, or a new lure, or a new presentation, and you're like, oh, that I know how I can use that. I know
yeah,
what I want to do with this. And
yeah,
I love that. I love that.
yeah.
That's fishing to me. That's the joy of
Thinking of,
thinking about it.
like I told you, when I fished that tournament, when I went to Lake Erie and I had gone, and I said in the last time we streamed about the harness, but coming across all those plastics in a bass shopper and that, the fishing store down in, I think in Port Clinton, I think we were, but I bought a bunch of stuff that, I haven't utilized all of it, but you know what? I mean, I know that it's going to work. You just got to give me a time and a place for it. But at the end of the day, I mean, those are just those typical things that make you think different techniques and apply different situations to it where you can be successful without, recreating the whole thing all over again.
I've never been out west yet, out in the Midwest to some of those big shops, and I've heard the
It,
stories of and it just again just to go in and it's the same way when I go down to the Jersey Shore to some of those shops on the saltwater. It's a whole different group of stuff to look at. You're like,
right.
how can I not think this is cool? I mean, I just I would be more shocked if I walked in and didn't look at anything. That would be something would be really wrong with me then.
They're right. No,
Um,
I don't care where I
so
go. If I'm stopping at a bait shop. If it's in the area, it's got the sign flashing open, man, I'm going to go check it out. There might be something I haven't seen before. Some of those opportunities create themselves, and just
absolutely.
more thing to exercise and try down the road.
I always think every time I tie one on, somebody one day when I had my tackle shop left a package of Kitech taped to my door. Um, and I'd never seen anything like it. I'd never smelled anything like it. I'd never seen a bait that was made that way, that was such detail in the plastic mold. Um, and I looked them up on the internet. I found the distributor in New Jersey and started carrying Kitech out of my little tackle shop, and no one up here had ever even heard of it. Or well, somebody had, but they
Yeah,
hadn't. Um, and eventually I would have, but how fortuitous. I mean, I've had that brand in my life for a long time, and it's amazing how you come around things like that,
yeah,
or something local, or somebody comes to this area and finds one of your baits, and then they will look at it and go, you know, geez, I wonder how you use this. How exactly is this supposed to be done? Because most people see a worm harness and assume trolling, right?
yeah,
I mean,
100%. Yeah.
yeah.
Boy, I tell you, I
Tell
got a
me,
guys down in Honeoye Lake that have been very successful down there with my worm harness. I forget a couple get Jim and another couple guys, but they've caught every species down there in that lake on my worm harness, and they've caught a couple big walleyes that they said they've never caught them that big down there. But it's funny how that networking and where they saw it, and I think they were up here fishing, and they took it down there, and then I still get messages from them, every couple weeks or often saying, "Oh boy, can't believe her. I'll get a picture." I put a good slideshow together, so I'll have some of that stuff running with some pictures of everybody. But it's like you said before, it's kind of rewarding. Like once you get something like that, and then they spread the word, man. It's kind of a secret for a little while, but when you start catching fish, people want to know, and then you start spreading the wealth, and then get that stuff to other people's hands, and before you know it, there's
Yeah.
a variety of people out there trying different stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Pretty rewarding.
Well, I guess it's that time. We'll give it. It's been an hour. So real quick, everybody, again, come out and see Brian and I this weekend at the sports show. We got 2 seminars, Friday and Saturday. My earlier guest, Captain Rick Hajecki from Krenzer Marine. We're going to be selling boats. We're going to be putting you in what you want. We're going to be selling tackle. We're going to be doing seminars. We're going to be talking fishing.
Yep.
It's going to be a great time. I look forward to seeing everybody.
Yeah, I think like I
So-
told you yesterday, maybe what we'll try to do is do a few live feeds around the show over the weekend, maybe to encapsulate some of the things that we like to see there. I know they're trying to build that show to make it, a variety of stuff for everybody to go see, and that's what's thing to look forward to. The other thing, like we didn't really talk about, is Walleye Fest. That's coming up before you know it. Here we are in the end of January, and like I have in the past, I'll support you and help you and do what we have to do to make that successful. But time slips by, man. Everybody's got real world stuff to deal with, but you want to support those things that keep people together. Those are the things that just help support the community, and then it keeps everybody healthy, I guess, because it's making something to look forward to. We don't want this doom and gloom all the time, because it's very stressful.
Especially this year with the election year, it's gonna get ugly the closer we get, and we're gonna have people yelling and mad and all that stuff, and that's not real. That's a great point. That's not real. That's we got to be nicer to each other and not worry about all that other stuff.
Right.
So, all right, brother. Thank you so much.
Yep.
Look forward to Friday, and we'll see everybody out there.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks everybody for tuning in, man. Appreciate everybody.
Thanks, Brian.
Okay.
All right. Everybody stick around here for a minute. All right, real quick. Let me go back through comments. Let me say hello to everybody. If everybody wants to hang out for a few, as long as it's not past everybody's bedtime. Ton of comments here. Let me just go through and do a roll call. I miss you guys, man. And I'm going to tell you right now, you have my word that we will do this more often. This hat's not right. We got to deal with it. I love this hat, but I don't like the hat itself. I got a big fat head. So, Tim G. Man, DeGoose, I love it. Aaron Lussier, Mark Webb, Merlin Johnson, Tim G, Brian. We just got off the phone with Brian. Thank you so much. Captain Rick, thank you so much. Kevin Stone. Dramamine is kicking in, smartass. Don Terry. Ed Roser. Aaron, I saw your comment earlier when Rick was talking about seeing the guys going out in the charter boats on his way to work, and your comment was, that's all of us who work Monday through Friday and see those guys heading out fishing. Sucks. I get messages and text messages in the morning all the time with friends of mine that'll see me as I'm going under the 81 bridge as they're going, to work or something in the morning, and I get a lot of those kind of text messages. Mark, I can only come out Sunday. That's all right, buddy. I'll give you your own seminar. We'll sit in the boat, and I'll tell you about it. Don Terry, we'll see you then. Mark Webb. Oh, I should have read this to Brian. He'll see it. Trolling with silver blue hammer spinners for Lakers up north. Yeah, no kidding. Kevin Stone also, he said he's running them the wrong way. I modified Brian's spinners all last year for deep trolling. Smashed them good. Looking forward to your new trolling harnesses. Brian's got a new harness and he didn't tell us about it live. I got to talk to that boy. So Aaron Lussier says, all right, hardest part for some is not having as much time to work with new techniques. He means on the water. Wish I had more weekends consistently to do so. And Aaron, that encapsulates my point, and that encapsulates what I feel compelled to do. And that's why I do this. And that's why I put a lot of, I don't want to say it the wrong way. I put a lot of work into this. My beautiful wife puts a lot of effort into it. Um, and I don't do it for nothing. I do it because I want to sincerely help show and tell you through bringing in a new technique to yourself. Okay. It doesn't matter what it is. Any technique you want, any fish you want, doesn't matter. If you had somebody to explain some of those points to you, some of those real key sticking points while showing you on video, and 2024 is going to do a lot more of those show and tell videos. Where we're showing you this product, this technique, this whatever it is, and then we're going through the nuts and bolts of putting it to work and showing how it works and what we have found why it works. That is 1,000% the goal of the Awakening Angler. Every single day, everything we put out is to help the angler that might not have all the time in the world to just trial and error it all day long. I get that. Believe me, I get that. Don Terry, the chartreuse ones are fire for brook trout in the Adirondacks. He's talking about the hammer rig. 315 Gamer, how's it going, everybody? Hope everyone is staying warm and cozy. What's up? Make sure to like the stream, guys. Show support to the angler. Thank you so much. That's awesome. Aaron, I bet Courtney thinks you have a major tackle addiction. Gamer is Oh, look at my beautiful wife. She said, Aaron, I've never met anyone more passionate about anything. Okay. Got it. Tim Graver, what's up, Farmer Tim? All right. Oh, Paul's here. Okay. Hell yeah. So, all right. I had something, so let's Walleye Fest. There's a lot of stuff going on. I'm so excited. I am bursting at the seams to talk to everybody about Walleye Fest. I just don't have the I's dotted or the T's crossed yet. So I'm not going to say anything yet. But I'm super, super excited. The path of Walleye Fest this year is the 45th year. The 45th year, I had the list out of the attendance every year. And I was looking through it, and I've got all the big years highlighted where it was over 3,000, 4,000, and I really have in my heart that that's where we're taking this to. We were at 1,400 last year, and I know we're going to just blow that away this year. Working on some incredible prizes, more cash than you can imagine. Let me tell you, more cash than has ever been in this derby, ever. We gave away more cash last year than ever before combined, not combined, ever before in a single year. Well, you tend to want to be dramatic. Yeah, it wasn't combined. And this year we're going to give away more than we did last year. My partner Chuck Orlando from Blimp Blizzard, he's all fired up. We have some really, really exciting stuff planned that we're in the works on, and we'll know more because as soon as the moment the ink is dry, you guys are going to know. And it will be Walleye Fest, Walleye Fest, Walleye Fest. Everybody's gonna love it. I am just bursting to tell you. Also, about a month ago, I recorded a podcast with a friend of mine who I actually met on Instagram. Brett Blumenthal, he is a captain on Lake Sakakawea in North Dakota. He does walleye content. He does some great walleye content on YouTube. I will have the link to his podcast that I did with him. He just put it up today. Please go check it out if you're into it. I hope you are. And like and subscribe to Brett's channel. We had a great conversation, and I think it'll make for an interesting podcast. So I only got to watch the first few minutes of it this morning when he sent me the link, but I'll have the link pinned in the comments as soon as we hang up. And lastly, and I've kind of waited to say this, my boat will be for sale at the sports show, fully rigged. So if you're interested in a turnkey fishing machine while you're out there looking at the stuff and you want to talk to me about my personal boat, which is at the show that you can look at and check out, then my boat is officially up for sale now with the new boats coming out. So that is all the kinks are worked out of it. Everything's ready to roll, and it is a fishing machine. You guys have seen it for the last 6 months. So, we got a spammer. All right. I guess that means we're making the big time. We've got our own spammers now, everybody. It's like the paparazzi, right? If you don't have spammers, you're not popular. All right. All right. We're going to get out of here. I'm going to post the link when I shut this down. I want to thank everybody for joining me tonight, and I can't wait to see everybody. Courtney and I will be there all weekend. We have the merchandise table set up to get your Awakening Angler gear. All kinds of great stuff. I have signed copies of my book. So please come out, join us, say hello, and let's talk some fishing. Keep your tip up. Love you guys and girls, except for the spammers. I guess they're people too. All right. See everybody later.